This is the Wellness Puzzle Podcast with Andrew Jobling, author, speaker, educator, entrepreneur, and AFL player. Join Andrew as he continues his lifelong journey as a student of human behaviour. This podcast will help you live your passion, explore your potential, step into your power, and embrace your possibilities.
Andrew Jobling, welcome to the Wellness Puzzle Podcast for an inspiring and hilarious podcast with Ben Price. Ben is a stand-up comedian. He is the master of so many voices. You can't even imagine how many voices he does, and he does them incredibly well. And so you're going to hear lots of personalities and from lots of people all out of Ben's voice in this podcast, but you're also going to hear about his passion and his mission to share the word of God and to minister to people all around the country. He's got this dynamic, amazing personality. He's doing incredible stuff as an entertainer, but also, as I mentioned, in a mission to help as many people as he can. This is an incredible conversation. Please sit back and enjoy this wonderful podcast with Ben Price. Hello, Ben. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. Thank you for getting me on here.
Mate, thank you for getting on.
We did it.
We did. It's taken a little while. We've done it. And I know, mate, you've got some challenges because you are in this, you're in your studio, mate, and you've got way too much technology. That's your problem. You don't know where to look, which microphone, which headset, how's it all going to work? Mate, do you know what you need? A computer, a microphone, done. I think you're far too complicated.
I know. I've got wires and cables and lights everywhere. I can hardly move in here. My wife has to. It's like, have you seen the movie with Catherine Zeta-Jones, The Entrapment? She has to sort of wiggle her way through all those laser beams. She has to do that just to get to our printer. So, and I just pretend I'm, Sean Connery, and I say, yes, keep going, and you'll get there. It's our training.
That's so funny, mate. That's awesome. But you are the ultimate entertainer, and we're going to talk a lot of stuff. You are a comedian. You have a million voices, which I'm sure you'll just throw in as we go. So, and there's no plan here, mate. You and I, just a bit of background for people. We go back, I don't know how many years, mate, when we first met.
20 years?
It's got to be close to 20 years. So you and I, obviously about 7 at the time.
Yeah, we were kids.
Yeah, just kids.
Macca's playground.
Exactly. Having a big Mac and sliding down the curly slide.
Yeah.
So, and I remember the first time I met you were part of the same business group I was a part of at the time, and I heard you speak, and I thought, wow, this guy's awesome. I need to meet this man. And
is that a Crown?
That was a Crown. A Crown. Yep.
So, yeah.
And I thought, this is a man who I need to know, because it wasn't just your comedy, and here's the great thing about what people are going to discover if they haven't already discovered Ben Price. If you haven't, shame on you. But you're going to...
Yeah, to quote the late Darren Hinch, shame. Yeah, there goes another voice, but yeah.
Well, that's okay, mate. Now's a good time to quote the late, great Darren Hinch.
Yeah,
He's
true.
Just for those who don't know and not Australian, don't care. He's a very successful media man who's just recently passed and has left a pretty amazing legacy. So, mate, on behalf of Darren, what would you like to say based on your life as Darren Hinch?
Based on my life as Darren, I haven't done the voice for a while. Shame. It's a shame that not a lot of people know about what we do. I don't even know if I'm doing. All I used to say was shame. That's all I ever did with him.
Yeah, he said that a lot, didn't he?
And I don't know whether I'm doing him or I'm doing Steve Vizard doing Darren Hinch.
Either way, mate, doesn't matter.
Shame. And
it honestly doesn't matter.
So sort of when I started doing all these voices,
I've got a feeling we're gonna head off in multiple directions through this conversation, which I'm actually okay with.
Oh, good.
Coming now back to our history. So 20 years ago, we met and we connected. I know and I can't remember what evolved from that, but randomly, about a month ago, you've appeared on a Sunday at my church.
Yeah.
And the pastor of the church, the fabulous Pastor Vaughan and his wife Cherie, and here's Ben Price appearing 20 years later. And it's like, and isn't it interesting? We both knew it, and because people
Yep.
coming in and out of your life all the time. And you
Yeah.
stood there, doing the sermon. You were the
Yeah.
preacher officially. And,
Pretty much.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
most of it you were just throwing out the voices and just asking the audience, give
Mm.
me a voice. And you would just do it
Yep.
so beautifully. But you've got a really strong ministry message, which we're going to talk about as well. And that's what I was
Yeah.
saying. The
Mm.
point was you're not just a comedian. You've got a lot more layers to you than that. And you've got a
Yep.
real heart to help people be saved through the Lord.
Mm.
And you're out there in the streets. My gosh,
I know.
standing on stage as a stand-up comedian, out in the
Yeah.
streets, ministering Jesus Christ are two of the most terrifying things anyone could possibly do. So let me ask you, mate,
And I do
why do
both.
you do it? All this stuff, what, you just like being shit scared? What? Tell us a bit about where that all came from.
Oh, I think you've got to be compelled to do it. If it's not something that you just know you've got to do this, that's that passion, you're not going to do it because it is terrifying. Firstly, public speaking is one of the
Yeah.
most terrifying things. People say, I can't do it. And I don't know. I find it more terrifying sometimes talking to a small group of people because you see all their reactions, and
Yeah.
then, when you're talking to a crowd, it's just a crowd and you're just being characters and having fun. So I don't get as scared, oddly enough, doing that. I used to, but then also, talking about my faith out on the streets, sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger
Mm.
than one on one as well, because if a stranger doesn't, or if a friend doesn't like what you do, you're going to see them again. Whereas
Yep.
if it's a stranger and they don't like you, well, you can move on. So in a sense, there's that. But yeah, it is. Both of them are very much, and I kind of like that. I kind of like putting myself in scary situations, knowing if I've overcome that, I
What
don't
else
have to
can
worry
I
about
overcome?
anything. I can do
I love
anything, and I
that.
think comedy prepares you for that. I think that's one of the good things
Well,
about doing comedy. You can go into anything in life and go, I've put up with hard
you've
crowds and
faced the
heckling.
fear because
Oh,
you said public speaking is hard,
yeah.
and it is. But
Mm.
I think stand-up comedy is another level, way beyond public speaking. I've been a public
Yeah.
speaker for well over 20 years,
Mm.
and I don't have to get people to laugh. Like, you know what? If they do laugh, that's awesome. And if I say something that's a bit funny, great.
The
But that's
bonus.
not the goal. But for a
Yeah.
stand-up comedian, your goal is to get people to laugh. And if they don't laugh, then
Mm.
effectively you're a failed comedian. So
Yeah.
that's scary because, again, there's the hecklers. And I'm sure you've been
Mm.
got any heckling stories?
You know what? I don't get heckled a lot. My active, you've seen it. I ask for
You
voice.
heckle the audience.
I heckle the audience. Yes, that's true. But I ask, who do you want me to do? And people, they'll shout out whoever. That may be the time I get a bit of heckling going on, but generally not. I mean, there are a lot of acts that have heckle comebacks. I don't have a lot just because I don't get heckled a lot. So sometimes that
You
worries me.
need
If
to get
someone,
heckled, mate. You need
I
to get
need to
heckled.
get heckled just so I can have a good comeback.
Yeah.
And I've seen some
Well,
comedians do that really well because they're prone to heckling. Thankfully I don't get heckled a
Well,
lot.
because
I
you're
mean,
good. You're obviously a good comedian. You don't get
well,
heckled. But speaking of
yeah,
heckling, now I'm going to throw you under the bus a little bit here. You know the two old guys in the Muppets that
yeah,
heckle.
yeah,
Can
yes.
you can you do them?
I don't know. I've never really. Yeah, it's just that old. It's just like I can't think what they say. What do they say? That
Uh,
yeah,
something they're always making fun
yeah.
of
Have
Kermit the
a look
Frog.
at this guy. I don't really. I've never really tried the Muppets, but well, those two Muppets, but they are classics. I do love
Well,
that
that
idea.
could be your heckling comeback, mate. Because I
Yeah,
reckon if you learn those two, get a few lines and get those voices, when someone heckles you,
yeah,
you just heckle straight back.
yeah.
Yeah, you muppet.
It is good when you have a good comeback. Oh, one of my first times I ever did stand up comedy at a comedy club, and I was terrified. And I would have been, I think, 19 or so, and I was just so scared and worried about getting heckled. And this guy came up on stage to say something, and I was like cool, calm, and collected, but in my mind, I'm freaking out. What's he going to say here?
Yeah.
And I think I'd handle it a lot better now. Like, mate, what are you doing? But he was up there, and he would just say, he just made some joke. He said, yeah, what do you do if a bird craps on your window?" And I knew the joke, so I said, "Yeah, you don't take her out again. Now sit down." And it shut him up, and it squashed the heckle. And it was like, oh, I felt good. I felt
That's
confident
good.
after saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was interesting.
Well,
And yeah,
no, that's
survived.
awesome, mate. And what I'm observing, because you do voices incredibly well, but not
Mm,
only the voices, you've got the facial expression, you've got the whole
yeah.
demeanor, you've got the body language. And as I'm looking
Uh-huh.
at you and we're talking about angry and heckling, I'm
Yeah.
seeing Robert De Niro.
Are
Like
you seeing Robert De
I'm
Niro?
seeing Robert. What would Robert De Niro say to
I
someone who
mean,
is heckling?
are you talking to me? Is that what? Are you talking to me?
I'm
Did
talking
you
to you.
did you just heckle me? You got up on stage? You had the audacity to come up here and tell me, a professional, I don't come to your workplace. I don't tell you how to make burgers. Hey, listen, something like that.
I love it, mate. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, people that are only listening to this on audio, you're missing the facial expression. So make sure you
Oh
go to
yeah.
YouTube and watch this video
It
because
does help the audio with the visual as well.
it really does, mate. It really does. Because, you can hear the voice,
Mm,
but when you see the body language and the actions, it
yeah.
just brings it to life. It's awesome. So Ben, here's what we're going to do, mate. I want to have a quick break and I want to come back and I
No
want to
worries.
dive into your story of
Mm,
how this all started for you and how you got into the comedy side of it, and then
yeah.
where your faith came in and has now had
Mm,
such a massive impact on your life, and now the impact you're having on lots of others. Not only are you making people laugh all around the world, I was watching some of the interviews you did on in the
oh,
US, and so you're making people laugh on the other side of the world, but also
yeah.
you're having this profound impact on people's lives through your faith.
Mm,
So let's have a break, mate. Come back and chat more.
yeah. All right.
I had to hit recording fast, mate. You were being just talking good stuff, and I'm thinking we aren't recording this. Let's record. So you're just
Oh yeah.
saying because behind you, you've got your podcast
Mm.
background, the Ben Price Comedy Podcast. Now, have you
Well,
started that yet, or is that
yeah,
still?
unofficially, I have started. It's not yet been fully launched. Yes, as in I've been filming some content. That's what I've been doing,
Right.
but no, it hasn't actually come out yet. So you're kind of seeing a sneak peek before anyone's actually
Wow.
seeing it. Yeah, but this is my study that I've converted into a studio, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yep, you've got your pot plant there, which is a very important part of any
Yeah,
podcast. The podcast pot plant, the
you got
Ben
to
Price
get that.
podcast pot plant.
Yeah.
Maybe you could have a conversation with a pot plant. What do you reckon? How would that go?
Totally. Yeah, it would be good. I don't know how they would talk. Whether it be like there's a plant in here. Would be. I'm not
What
sure
would a
whether it
plant sound like, mate? If a plant could talk, what would it say?
be like Tom Cruise. It'd be like I'm a plant for the what is it MI what is the organization that sends him out? I can't remember, but I'm a secret plant. I'm a secret plant.
CIA.
We're hearing what you're saying, and this plant will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
All right, mate. You better get out. That's awesome. I love
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. But I probably will have Uber drivers call in and personal trainers call up and putting people on audio calls and that sort of thing. And
Oh,
I'm
really?
gonna have an
A little
empty
bit like a
chair.
radio show kind of thing, is it?
Kind of. Yeah. There'll be
But not
also
really like an interview style like we're having, but more just a
more
bit of
like they're
banter
interrupting.
with different people of different walks of life.
Yeah, yeah. People will just interrupt, and it'll all be kind of pre-done. As I'm getting interruptions from laundry sinks in here as well, so that kind of
Oh.
stuff might happen. Or yeah, I might have an empty chair, so I'll have like a different guest pop in each week. So it could be Tom Cruise sitting in the empty chair. Could be uh, could be Robert De Niro. Could be
Homer
it could be
Simpson could be there.
I was almost going to go into Arnold Schwarzenegger. Then you say Homer Simpson could be there. Homer Simpson would love the empty chair. I like an empty couch, but not an
I
empty
don't reckon Arnie would
chair.
fit, mate. I don't reckon Arnie would fit in there.
No, because it would crush the chair. The chair is a girly man chair. I mean, this leather chair, it's a leather chair. It's great, but it's not a. Come on, you got to get a chair that's attached to a leg press. That's the only chair that they like to sit in that, is not so great. Put a leg press on the end of that.
Well, there you go, mate.
Put the leg extension at the end of that.
Wouldn't it be good if you actually could get, and I don't know if you've ever spoken to anyone who you have imitated their voice, in an interview. Have you ever spoken to Rocky, for example? Like
No, but I'd love
Sylvester
to.
Stallone? Imagine having that conversation with him.
Oh, yeah. Well, it would be, so great because, there's a new movie coming out. I don't know about you heard about this. It's called I Play Rocky, but I don't play Rocky, but that's what it's called. And the guy who plays Rocky is playing me playing Rocky in a movie about Rocky where I play Rocky. And he did such a great job that we're going to do a movie about the guy who played Rocky in the movie where it's called I Play Rocky, called I Played the Guy Who Played Sylvester Stallone playing Rocky. And if that does well, we might do a sequel. But I'd love to interview him. That would be phenomenal.
That would be awesome.
I
All
have
right,
met
mate.
people like done their voice to them. Like I haven't done it for Arnold Schwarzenegger,
And
but not
how
interviewing.
did he
Just,
smash you, or was he happy about it?
when I met him, I was dressed like the Terminator, and it was fantastic. And this was great when he came to Australia, and I'm imitating him to him, and he seemed to really enjoy it. And he goes, "Who does the makeup?" Now I had a really good line for that, and it was, "Isn't it makeup in a fight with a Democrat?" And normally people would laugh at that, but he's gone, "No, who does the makeup?" And I freaked. I went, I answered him in my voice. I went, "The makeup artist," but it was the name. And I totally forgot. And I went, "I can't remember." He goes, "Doesn't matter. She's done a great job." And I'm going, "Yeah, it's fantastic. It's like we're looking into a mirror." So it was kind of weird and awkward, but it was fun. And I've done it for I've done it for John Cleese as well, very briefly, just did
A
his
good
voice for
show.
him. Yes, so I didn't do the silly walk, but I talked about it with it. So we had a chat for about 15 or 20 minutes. It was wonderful. Yeah,
Oh, mate, so good. We could keep doing this, but I want to
yeah.
go back, mate. Tell us how it all began
Mm,
for you. Where did comedy come into it? What was it born out of? Was it what what
yeah.
started this for you? Let's go back to the
Mm.
little Benny
Oh,
Price.
yeah, long time ago. I was born at a young age, in the 70s, early 70s, well, mid 70s. I was born, but in those days, I my sister would dress me up as characters. So my older sister wanted to have fun theatre
A
shows, and
live doll.
in front of the mirror, you do the Vicky and Ben show. That was kind of fun. Just yeah, kind of started me on that journey. And then when I was 10, I learned voices. You probably grew up listening to the 12th Man
Yep,
with
Richie
Richie
Beno.
Beno and Tony Gregg and Maxie Wooger and yes, and all those voices and Bill Laurie and all those voices. It was great, fantastic. And so that kind of sparked it in the mid 80s. I'd say I was learning, Frank Spencer, ooh, Betty, and doing Bob Hawke was the first prime minister that I learned. Ladies and gentlemen, and so then from there it just grew and grew. I was
Yeah.
doing it at school, and funnily enough, you mentioned that you saw me at church because that's sort of where I started. People knew that I do that, and at church camps I would get up and do voices, or they'd get me to do the announcements sometimes, and then it just kind of continued after school. And once I started getting invites to birthday parties and weddings and 21sts, and people get me to speak at their church, and there it kind of just all happened. And I think the big break really came from, you may remember there was a show called Live and Kicking, which was a kind of spin-off from the footy show in the late
Yep.
90s. And I
Yep.
went on there about 4 or 5 times, and that kind of propelled me into the corporate world. And then, yeah, obviously Australia's Got Talent is where it really, got its big break really in 2011, and it's been a journey ever since.
And did you win Australia's Got Talent? Or you end up were you runners
I
up?
didn't win, no, but I was in the top 10, so I was about
Yep. How could you not
eighth.
win? What is wrong with those? What's wrong with
Well,
Australians? Because
yeah,
it's Australians that vote, isn't it?
well,
Is that how it works?
I hope so. Yeah, I don't think you can vote if you're outside Australia, but you can anyone can vote, right? So people can vote multiple times. There's no cap on that. So if they want a singer to get a record deal, they can vote a million times.
Yeah.
And usually that's how it works. A singer typically wins, and that's the case the year I was on. It's very hard for a comedian to win, to get a deal with Sony. What are we going to do with a comedian? But, it was so good because I was a little disappointed that I didn't win.
Yeah.
But then I reflected and thought, it was out of 9,500 people. I did pretty well to make that
Top
the
10.
grand final. Yeah.
And you got
people
exposure. I
remembered.
mean, that's
Oh,
what
yeah,
I
work.
guess more important than winning the competition is
Yeah.
just the country seeing you and your talent and what
Mm.
you've got. And I'm sure that, as you said, opened up a lot of doors.
For sure. Yeah. No,
So
it was awesome.
tell us, I mean, you see, you're painting this beautiful picture of, it all just started as an 8-year-old when, the Ben and, was it sister's name?
Oh, Vicky, yeah, she'll
And the
love me
Ben and Vicky
saying that.
show, and I
Yeah.
just this, and then I did that, and before, and a bada bing, bada bang, here I am, a
Yeah,
superstar.
yeah.
Tell us some of the challenges you've had to overcome in that journey, in your entertaining journey, because there must have been some setbacks, and how did you keep going to really get to
Mm.
this level you're at?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was pretty shy as a kid, would you believe? No, I wanted to perform and I loved doing it. But so getting over that and just realizing, hey, there's nothing to be worried about or anything like that. But then I think it was even a challenge to first get into it. My dad kind of pushed me into, get into the corporate world, and that was a challenge to sort of get known through agents and who am I, and just sort of overcome those tough early gigs. And yeah, it was daunting because you're going into, it's easy when you're sort of
Yep.
doing it at church and when you're doing it at 21sts and those kind of things. But when
Yeah.
you really go into comedy clubs and you go into corporate world, and you still feel like, I'm still a novice because I was like 18, 19 doing corporate gigs, and I'm like, yeah, that was challenging. But then I got more and more confident. The more and more,
Yep.
I think anything you do, you get more and more confident. But I think the challenges have always been having to adapt to, entertainment's one of the things that when there's financial hardships, that just gets, tossed to the side, especially when, think of the GFC or COVID years, and so those challenges have been hard for entertainers, or having to reinvent yourself constantly to learn new voices and learn new
Yeah.
material, doing
And
shows,
make the most of.
selling tickets. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a hard journey, but it's worth it. It's
And have you ever had to deviate from entertainment in some of those times? Like, when the GFC and it's like people are going, I'm sure you're getting the advice, well, maybe you better go get a real job, as if,
yeah.
comedy is not a real job or entertaining
Huh.
is not a real job. Maybe you should go and get a real job. Have you ever entertained that thought of maybe I need to go and
Oh
sell insurance, or I need to work in a cafe, or
no, look,
you'd be great in a cafe. You'd be awesome
yeah,
as a
that
sir
would.
in a,
Oh, it would be. Yeah, I could, and I've
you'd
thought
draw
about that.
people in.
Yeah, I definitely. No, there was a season where I did a little bit of spruiking. You don't hear a lot of that these days. I don't even know if I've seen them, but I usually get ladies that stand out the front. But I would stand out the front. I got asked to do this. I didn't sort of seek it out. Could you come to a shopping center and tell people about specials that we've got, come into the shop? But I would throw voices in, and that's sort of how I learnt to get used to crowds.
So give
And
us a little bit of a sample, mate, of a spruiking outside of a jewelry shop to get people to come in and buy.
I did actually do it in a jewelry shop. I think it might have been like Prouds or one of those, and it was 5 hours of talking at a shopping center. And I tell you, it was so tiring. 5 hours of talking, because it's not just talking, but you're like projecting your voice, and you end up feeling exhausted at the end of it. But I think I was standing there going, "Hey guys, we've got a sale on today. It's 50% off everything." As marked, come in and have a look. You never know who's going to be in here. We've got King Charles in here, and it's delightful. I get all my jewelry in here. The royal crown was bought from here. It's amazing. Even Camilla looks nice with some of this jewelry, or that kind of stuff. Or I go, oh, and Homer Simpson's over here. Oh, it's so exciting. Woohoo! We got a sale on. Come in here. And that kind of thing. And people would just be like, wow. And they'd come into the shop because they'd get entertained. And
Yeah.
I saw a guy do that when I was a shoe salesman when I was about 17 or 18. And I said, I love that. And that was one of the things that inspired me to do that. So I haven't really deviated too much from the
Well,
comedy,
that's
but
good.
there's, yeah, like voiceovers and acting things, but it's all centered around being creative. Yeah, I don't like to. I did sales, a long time ago, but that was more before I was full time. That was when I was a part time
Okay.
comedian, part time selling houses at one point, selling cash registers for a while. Yeah, because
Wow.
there was money in them, and but no, I mean that gave me
Were you
material.
selling cash registers with money in them?
No,
No.
but
So
I
really, you're
showed.
lying. There's no money in them. You've
No,
got to
that's I
put money in
discovered
them.
there was no money in them. Sometimes you'd get a trade in with an old one, but no, you would. I just remember putting on voices. I would go from shop to shop asking if they needed supplies, and I'd do a British accent and I'd say, "Yeah, would you like anything?" And I was at Chadston one time, and the guy said, "No, I'm right." I said, "No worries, mate." And I go to the next shop, and I'm just talking in my normal voice, and I said, "Oh, you guys need anything?" And they said, "We'll get the boss." And he came out from the back, and it was the same guy. He owned both shops, and the girls are seeing me go, "All right, mate, no worries. See you later." And they're probably thinking, "What happened to his voice?" So it gave me a lot of material.
Yeah. So, mate, before we go to our next break,
Yeah.
what would be one tip for people? Because I would imagine entertainment, look, it's glossy and it's nice and it looks
Yeah.
awesome and all that kind of stuff. But there's tough
Mm.
times and times when you probably feel like you are an imposter and it's not working and you may be tempted to give up. What's kept you going through all these years? Because how long's it been, mate? It's been probably
Mm.
30 years, getting
Well,
close to, if not more then.
it's 2026, right? So 26 years of full-time comedy. So yeah, year 2000 is when I started. I just think you have to have that drive in you that you just this is what you want to do. You live and breathe this stuff, and you just got to keep going and keep trusting. Yep, this works. Believing in what you do. Uh, if it's not your passion, then don't do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there will be times where even you feel like, oh, am I still funny? Am I still relevant? Am I still able to make people laugh like I used to? Am I still able to, and
Yeah.
crowds change and all dynamics change and that. Am I still able to adapt? All those things, but just keep on
Just keep
turning up
evolving. So,
day after day. Just
with
turn
that
up.
in mind, mate, we're going to have a break.
Yeah.
Give us one of your newest voices and take us into the break.
I mean, this comes to mind. It's so great. It's been around for a few years, but it's one of the greatest voices. And whether people love me or hate me, it's really an honor, a huge honor for you to hear from me right now. Believe me, Andrew, it's so fantastic. Let's have a break.
Well, hey guys, Ben Price here. The Ben Price Comedy Podcast is about to start. Not right now, but it's underway. It's been in the planning for quite a while, and it's been hard to sort of coordinate because we've had to somehow talk to other celebrities and see if they want to appear on the show. And kindly, a few of them said that they would like to appear. So.
Well, I'm really excited about the Ben Price Comedy Podcast and, out of all the podcasts in all the world. I mean, this is one of them, absolutely.
Wow, guys, I'm so excited. Yeah. No, the podcast, Ben Price Comedy, is about to start. I am on the edge of my seat. Literally. No, it's that's what that squeaky noise is. Yeah, no, I should probably sit back, but I'm so excited.
I like to go on this podcast, but I don't like this guy because, he dresses up like President Trump. And I don't like President Trump because he creates a lot of division and he incites violence. I like to get rid of him and I like to punch him in the face.
Not a lot of great podcasts out there in the world, but this is one that I would love to be a great part of. A lot of fake news out there, believe me, but Ben is delivering comedy like you wouldn't believe. Probably the funniest person that you'll ever meet. I would probably be the funniest. If it was up to me doing a comedy podcast, I would probably be very funny. The king of comedy, but he's a very close second, believe me. Right, and now for something completely different, the Ben Price Comedy Podcast.
Mate, this is fun. I knew we were going to have an awesome conversation.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I was a little bit nervous. I mean, because you are a profile person and I'm thinking, shit, am I good enough? And I've been podcasting for coming towards 7 years now. So I reckon I've got some skills, but
yeah.
you get nervous when you're talking to someone who's just a natural entertainer, who's a professional, who's been doing it for, as you said, almost 30 years. And I have to admit, I'm a little bit nervy, but you made it easy, mate. You're making it easy for me. So
Oh,
thank you
thank
for
you.
that.
Oh no, I'd probably be the same if I had to kick a ball at the MCG.
Well,
Maybe.
probably. I
Although,
was
can I
and
just
still
say,
would be too.
I kicked a footy from about 35 meters out as Trump recently, and I posted it. And the whole crowd was watching at a Rochester Football Club. I was up there the other week
I
for
think
the
I saw
4th of
that. I think I
July,
saw that. Yep.
and I nailed the goal. I went, yes. Yeah, you probably
So,
saw
mate,
it.
you've already got it. You've got that skill as well. Gee
Oh,
whiz,
it's
mate. What can't
not
you
quite.
do? That's the question.
No, that was probably one of those lucky kicks. No, I can't dance. That's for sure. I can't dance.
No. Oh,
Although,
I
no,
wouldn't be too worried about
I
that.
think I'm more confident than what other people would say.
Awesome. So, mate, let's go. Let's talk about this faith journey because it sounds like this has been a lifetime journey for you, I'm guessing, but from just
Yeah.
reference to things you've said so far.
Yeah.
And tell us when it moved beyond just a belief in a faith to you going, I want to get out into the street and make a difference. And I know you've started just on your own, and now you've got multiple teams around the country that are ministering to people in the streets. Tell us a bit about that evolution, mate, because it's intriguing.
Yeah. Oh, it has been a life journey. I've grown up as a Christian and for my entire life. I didn't have a moment where I had been away and never knew what this was. So I'm blessed in that sense. And when I knew about, what is right and what is wrong, I had this desire to go and tell people without knowing anything about the Great Commission that we're told. Go and tell people the good news. I didn't know about that. And so I did.
Why was it such good news for you?
I think, well, I actually, when I was a kid, I just knew this is right. People need it. But as an adult, I can really appreciate the good news because I know what the bad news is. Because it's like if I say to somebody, you don't have cancer, they'll go, well, I knew that. That's not good news. But if you're a doctor and you have to sit someone down and show them the symptoms and you're talking about all this and you're showing them all the charts and this is the tests we've done, and it seems they feel that bad news, that weight on them. And then when you share, but I have good news, it's like, oh, please tell me the good news. And so once people see, it's like a diamond on a black backdrop. Once they see the bad news, the context as to why it's good, I realized, I often say to people that if I stood next to a criminal, if you and I stood next to a criminal, we look really good. But if we stood next to God, well, all of us become the criminals in his perspective because we've transgressed his law, or whether it's lying or whether it's blaspheming God's name, whether it's, any kind of, let's say, even if we've lusted, we've got adultery in our heart. So as a result, there's a very black backdrop to that. According to God, we don't inherit the kingdom of God. There is a real place called hell, but God doesn't want anyone to go there. He doesn't want anyone to perish. So he came himself to this earth, died on a cross to pay for our sin, rose again, and our faith in him, turning away from sin, turning towards him into that relationship is what saves me. And that's where I can go, that's good news.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know that's good. Everybody knows that, Jesus died on the cross. But
they don't know what it means. They don't truly know what it means.
Not until they realize, oh, I'm not good, because they're going, no, I'm pretty good. But not until they realize, oh, I need a savior. Oh, thank you. I want to put my trust in him. And a lot of people say I'm not religious, and I say, well, I'm not either, because that's not what God wants. He wants to know us intimately. And I actually think when I do that, I feel like when that's my focus, it actually makes my comedy better. Would you believe? And it actually everything has its right perspective. If I'm focused on my comedy too much and not on the Lord, things don't seem to work.
Perspective.
The way they ought to.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's also knowing that you are led. I mean, you're here. You're a beautiful example of someone who's actually utilizing those God-given abilities that you've got.
Yeah.
He's given this gift of humor and entertainment in you, and also this gift of courage to go out and not only share your humor but share his good news. And you are the epitome of someone who's actually going out and doing that. And there's so many of us, and this is not even a spiritual conversation,
Yeah.
although we're all,
Yeah.
from my point of view and your point of view, we're all created in God's image. We're all been
Yeah.
given these God-given talents. So
Yeah.
few people actually have the courage to follow that path and use those God-given gifts. And when you do that,
Mm.
and I know for myself, and it's taken me a lot of years of
Mm.
fighting and resisting and pushing and stretching and chasing, thinking that I've got the answers, to finally surrender it to God. And then all of a sudden now I know I'm using my God-given talents as well, not just as a podcaster and an author and a speaker, but as a volunteer and as a partner and as someone who knows the power that a relationship with God can bring into your life. And I know there's people listening to this, they may have switched off already because, well, it was funny when he was doing imitations, but how now this is not funny anymore. You may have to let's throw in a couple of voices to keep people, that aren't necessarily spiritual. So, mate, let's have a little interruption here with a couple of your awesome voices.
All right, who would you want to hear from?
Oh, mate.
Give me a scenario. Let's see if we can. If people are driving around, who they might have an Uber driver who could be a celebrity Uber driver. Let's see if we can figure that out.
Okay, well, what about
I'll put
what
myself.
about John Wayne? I can see him as an Uber driver.
Oh. John Wayne I don't really do a John Wayne. I could probably let you drive the car yourself to teach you a lesson. Just like if I teach a young kid to swim, I throw him in the lake. So I'll throw you in the driver's seat. I don't know if I'm doing John Wayne or
No,
if
you're doing a pretty good job. What about if Elvis Presley took over that driver's seat?
we're going back a long way now to go back to people like Elvis Presley. Well, we're going to take a left down to the end of the road, down to the end of Lonely Street, baby. Thank you. Thank you very much. I feel like Elvis is one I don't do a lot because I feel like there's a million Elvis impersonators out there.
Yeah, but they more the singing part of the Elvis
That's right.
impersonation, not the actual
Not a lot
speaking
of
part of
people
it.
actually sound like Elvis, so I think you got to get the voice. It's like that. I like it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do some more of that. I could almost go into Dr. Phil there, and if Dr. Phil was driving, well, I got to say I don't drive, but a lot of people drive me crazy. Somewhere out there, a village is missing its idiot, y'all.
Yeah. What if Marvin the Martian came down to Earth out of his spaceship and jumped into the Uber?
Well, we're going for a drive up the road, and we've gone so far that the Earth looks so small.
I don't know if that sounds like Marvin the
No,
Martian.
no,
The
no.
Earth,
That's
The
it.
Earth.
yeah, it was such a funny voice.
All I know about him is I'm very, very angry.
I'm
I
very,
must
very
vaporize you.
Wow, bringing back memories.
What about
Yeah.
Foghorn Leghorn, mate? He was always a goodie.
See, I almost went into that with Dr. Phil because he's got that same sort of, but he says, I say, boy, smart kid, but not a lot up here, you know. It's almost like Dr. Phil
That
does
was Dr. Phil doing Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah, I think so, where he says, you can put feathers on a dog, but that don't make it a chicken, y'all.
No, that's awesome, mate. And so tell us now, I just want to know about this ministry. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in the street and how that evolved. Because I know you just went out one day, did you, on your own, and said, I'm going to share the good news. And now tell us about what that's turned into.
Yeah, I did. Because, look, I won't go into the complete story, but I had some severe anxiety in 2009. And it was, in a sense, God waking me up because I was a Christian, but I'd become, quite lukewarm in my walk, and we can all drift a little bit, but I'd sort of drifted a lot, and God brought me back to that, allowed me to go through a tough time to look up and realize, oh wow, and I really felt not like out of religious duty, or I better share my faith. I was like, Lord, I know that you've saved me, and I don't deserve it. It's God's grace, His undeserved favor, and I wanted to share that with people. That's what we're called to do. And I was terrified. I could be on stage in front of thousands of people, but I was terrified. And the more and more you do it, the better you become. It's like riding a bike. You fall off, and then you get back on. You fall off, you get back on, and that was an exercise bike, by the way. But no, I just kept doing it, and if it's always good to do it with other people. And so I've got a friend of mine, and we did it for about 8 years together. And after COVID, all these people started joining us, and we prayed for people, and they came, and it gradually grew and grew and grew. And you mentioned Vaughan earlier. He came and joined us a couple of years ago, and there was a few others. And I feel like there's now about 60 or 70 people all around Australia who are doing this.
That's awesome,
we've, come together. It's incredible, and it's actually fun, and not just fun, but God says, "I'm with you always, even to the end of the age." So we don't have to worry. It is challenging sometimes, but I like the adventure, and I like giving people a paradigm shift where someone says, "No, there is no God, and it's all BS or whatever," and then you challenge them on it, and then after a few minutes, they're like, "Oh,
maybe there is."
And I love that moment where they just see the brain ticking, going, "Yeah, I'm really going to have a think about this," and that's the seed sown. They may not come to the Lord there and then, but they realize actually there is, because some people get really like, "Oh no, you've just got to be good to people. I don't think there's a God. I think we just got to be kind to people." And I say, well, if there is no God, why does that matter? Where are you getting your morality from? If we just evolved, and questions like that get them really thinking, and they go, "Oh yeah, if there's a moral law, there must be a moral lawgiver," things like that. And not everyone's going to love it, but some people will go, "Oh, I needed this," and you just go, "Wow, this is incredible," and I love it. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. We're going to come to the end, but before we do, I have your website up here, and I have a list of all of the voices you do. So I'm going to throw a few at you just to wrap up as we're coming towards the end of this. Sure. So, mate, I want to hear from Owen Wilson, if that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's I'm so happy that you asked for me, because a lot of people, they forget, Owen's there. He's like quiet in the back. Yeah.
That's awesome, mate. Give us Donkey from Shrek.
Well, Doug is the opposite, man. Doug is not so quiet, man. Doug is like, "I can't wait to speak. Man, I'm so excited to be on your show, Andrew. Man, this is amazing. I'm happy to be here." Are we there yet? Did we get there yet? For 5 minutes, Donkey. Put a little bit of Shrek in there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask for Shrek.
Oh, there you go. Beat you to it.
You did beat me to it. Okay, what about a bit of Hugh Grant? We all love a bit of Hugh Grant.
Right. Yeah, excellent. Well, I do love Hugh Grant, actually. Love, actually. But no, it's wonderful, delightful.
And I'm sure he's a good friend of Mr. Bean.
Oh, well, Mr. Bean, I've been in a lot of his movies, actually. Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people say, "How do you do Mr. Bean? He doesn't talk." Well,
I do.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, well, here's a couple of Aussies. Give us a bit of Russell Crowe.
Well, I'm glad you called me an Aussie, mate, because actually I'm a New Zealander, but because I did so
sorry.
well. No, it's okay. Because I did so well, Aussies claim me because I won an Oscar. I'm an official Aussie. But
good, man. Good.
If I start to sing and read poetry, I'm a Kiwi.
I love it. John Farnham. Where's he?
Yeah. No, well, John Farnham, he's pretty Australian, born in England, but no, we don't worry about that. No, it's fantastic. It's really great.
That's
the
so
voice.
Good, mate. Mate, we need a bit of Darth Vader.
Oh,
James Earl Jones.
I am your father. I'm very excited to speak to you.
I don't know if the reverb is coming through on that, because that on a really good mic, you can really get that sound to it. It's amazing.
Mate, two more. Give us a bit of Jim Carrey, and then we can wrap it up with Simon Cowell. How does that sound?
Yeah, not bad. I haven't done when I do Jim Carrey, it's like the mask,
P-A-R-T, why? Because I gotta.
And right, Simon Cowell. That was impressive. I did not know what you were actually going to ask me there, and you did so well. Well done. Thank you so much.
Is that 4 yeses?
4 yes. It's a yes from me. It was going to be a no because I had no idea, but it's a yes from me.
Awesome. That's so good. Ben, thank you, mate. This has been such a wonderful conversation. Really grateful. Now, you've got a couple of websites. I know you've got your comedy website and I know you've got your ministry website. Can you share those for us?
Yeah, the comedy is benpricecomedy.com and Bought With a Price is the other one. So that's boughtwithaprice.com.au. And you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook and all those socials as well.
That sounds amazing. Ben, thank you so much, mate. This has been amazing, not just entertaining and funny, but inspiring, empowering, all the good stuff. So thanks, mate. Much appreciated.
Pleasure, mate. It's been awesome. Thank you very much.
What an awesome conversation. I'm still laughing, but I'm also incredibly inspired by this man who has had longevity in entertainment, but is also working with faith. He is using his God-given ability to the best of his ability, and he's having an awesome time doing it. So if you'd like to find out more about either his comedy or his ministry, go to benpricecomedy.com to find out all about how you can book him and what he's done and all the different things that he is involved with. If you're interested to find out more about his ministry, go to boughtwithaprice.com.au. Thank you for joining me in this incredible podcast. I know you've loved this and I really hope you will share it with as many people as you can. And then please join me for my next. My name's Andrew Jobling. This is the Wellness Puzzle Podcast.